he doesn't have to, for example, give the debt figure when he says, when that has not been properly indexed. He doesn't have to be selective, for example, in the accounts, sinking fund, when there are others we don't know.
Well,
so generally, I mean, this is your first stage. So your view on the state of the nation, directly addressing the points that your colleagues have raised as well.
Okay, well, I'll just stand from where my brother, Dr. Kabiru, left off in terms of accusing the president of having exploited the IMF by the statement he made. I don't think that was very prudent, because we're giving a State of the Nation's address. If there's anyone that has impugned the IMF, it is his previous government, who vowed and said that they were never going to go to the IMF, but ended up going there with a tail in between their legs and hackles raised with wagging tails. So where are we now to talk about who impugned the IMF? You impugned the IMF to the extent that to even have access to the tranches of loans that were to come in were being delayed. And these are tick box exercises. Nobody cracked a sweat in any part of any jurisdiction when they are under an IMF program to access such. But you had delays, and that is impugning the IMF. So if there's real or anything to talk about impugning the IMF, you exhibited that. So what the president basically did was to give the true State of the Nation's address. You're talking about sweeping accounts. I would cede some time off for my brother to tell us what the figure is, as far as maybe he knows something we don't know. Doc, what was in the sweeping account? What's the amount that President Mahama failed to mention?
No, but maybe
but I'm asking, he should tell us what it is. No, you seem to know something we don't know.
The point is that
he seems to know something we don't know.
What the banner said, that there are various accounts.
Yes,
so it is not just one account to pay debts from. So you deal with only one account, you're sinking debt, and create a picture.
Yeah, so my point is, what is there that we do not know?
Let me give you an answer.
What year?
We had the Eurobond account. We had the T2 main account. We had money of about 300 million in excess of oversubscription of T-bills. These monies are definite, and we can tell the amount. In the case of sweeping of accounts, every agency spends until such point that the directive was issued. It is only the government of Ghana and no other person can tell the amount that was left in the sweeping account. It's only the government of Ghana, and the president will be the only person.
No, but
not even unless, of course, respective agency can tell you how much we bequeath, but the total, the aggregate figure, it's only the president.
You put out something as though you know something that
the point is making is that there are other accounts,
yes,
but the president focused on one, and people have the impression that
but that's
was
important.
All that was
he's
in the
highlighting issues. And the State of the Nation's
agencies.
address is a clear highlight or headlight items of what is the true state of the nation.
But does it give a complete figure, a complete picture, that there are other accounts you chose to deal with only one?
So you want him to go bit by bit and
not
measure
necessarily,
every account?
for example, to say that this is how much was left for payment of debt, so that you don't necessarily have to mention the accounts, so that we know that collectively or compositely, this is what was left.
That's insignificant.
Really?
Yes, very insignificant. What are you talking about? That's insignificant.
Let's sit down. I'll come to you.
Well, that's insignificant to the debate here and what we are having as far as the true state of the nation's economy is concerned. Right? You're talking about, I hear my brother talk about a country's population. Juxtaposing it with tax collection, a population of 34 million. 34 million active taxpayers. To have that conjecture. You talk about countries such as the US, another example of a US even borrows. Did the US go into domestic debt exchange program? So these are the realities we should be talking about. We are talking about an overheated economy.
I think he mentioned the fact that it depends on what you use the borrowing for.
Yeah, what did they use?
What did he add?
What did they use the borrowing for?
What he didn't say was what they used.
What did they use the borrowing for?
That was there.
What did we use the borrowing for? That led us to even touching blue chip investments such as pensions. In any responsible jurisdiction, nobody goes after blue chip investments such as pensions. In any case, what led us to a domestic debt exchange program? My brother mentioned that we were at a cliff. What led us to the cliff?
COVID, Ariwo.
Oh, come on, Selam. Don't be disingenuous about this.
But that's what we've been told, and that's the reality.
What reality?
Because the claim is made that pre-COVID.
Yes, but even pre-COVID, did you see the IMF report and where it pointed us to as an economy? There was a pre-COVID report from the IMF and the World Bank. All the Bretton Woods institutions came out to a report and pointed to where our economy was headed for. So now, if we go or we have inherited an overheated economy. We're not even a 1-year-old government. We're an 8-week-old government. And all of this is coming from, we have already borrowed X, Y, Z. What is the component of the debt? We need to spell that out. What has it been used for? If you look at the treasury bill market, one thing we're failing to realize is that it's just not a market for Ghanaians, because if you comb around the sub-region, right, it's a unique case we have in Ghana with treasury bills. So you have subscribers coming from the sub-region, Nigeria being one of the biggest points in time. So if you don't arrange this very well and give a signal to the market to really have a full attraction of it, where are we going to after inheriting such an overheated economy? Cocoa syndicated loans. Have we ever cracked a sweat at getting that? But under this regime, what happened? We struggled with it at the international market. Syndication was a problem. So what are we talking about? What did they do with ESLA as far as energy debts are concerned? Who created the sinking fund? So the activation of the sinking fund as an insurance measure was one of the apt instruments that the government could, given the current situation we find ourselves in. So if we're indeed talking about the true state of the economy, that is what was given to us by President John Dramani Mahama. And for me, I tend to have viewed a nationalistic perspective from where he came from. It had a national outlook in what it is. His embrace and confidence with which, right, he exuded to the good people of Ghana that I am not going to cancel free SHS. In and of itself, still tells you that there's a continuum in government policy and programs and interventions.
But free SHS will change in its form.
Well, the details would come. There is an educational forum ongoing, so that's not something we want to really jump.
Of course, we're not discussing free SHS at this segment.
No, I'm just talking about, we're discussing the state of nations address, and this is something we significantly.
We had put in
it's valid to mention because it was part of the...
Yeah, it was part of what he mentioned.
The point I'm making is that it does appear...
Because my brother was saying he didn't really mention anything. His ability to even embrace the free SHS and say, look, I'm going to continue with it in and of itself.
But
to be free SHS.
I think when you have your 10, you have that, right? Can I have it?
The point I'm making is that the narrative appears that the government is taking a certain trajectory, shaping people's mind that you should be ready to make some contribution to the education of your children.
Well, but of course, no, it's not that, but don't turn the government's direction into what it has not explicitly stated. Right? But are you happy with the current form of free SHS? Obviously, no.
No, it could be better.
So it could be better. So whatever reforms are coming is to enhance it. Numeracy and literacy skills is very important. Quality of the students in terms of their welfare is key. What they eat matters. So we are talking about clear improvements of it and an overhaul of that. What is the quality of graduates we are churning out from free SHS? So these are things that we really need to look at as a government. So, but we have not said we're going to do A, B, C, D until a full government paper comes out of that. But what he explicitly stated at the State of the Nation's address is that I am going to embrace and continue with free SHS. I think that's significant, right? But to talk about preparing, I mean, my brother mentioned that the statements which he made was shying away. I want to put it mildly, like shying away investors from the economy. I think that right from when President Mahama won, he has been not on the spending of flying spree of borrowing, as Ken Ofori-Atta did, but he's been traveling around the world, putting in measures in place to actually call on investor confidence as far as government is concerned. I'll lay out some of the initiatives that have even been taken for an 8-week-old government. Right. You look at the setting up of the gold board and the speed at which it's going. Very significant feat as far as that is concerned. His commitment to activating the sinking fund, right? Where cash payment could be made, committing that to it. Where kind payment could be, committing that to it. Right. And also stating, which my brother is not so comfortable with, that $64,000 was a contribution that was.
And I think there was 143 million CDs as well.
Yes.
We don't mention the CDs.
CDs. But if you look at it in real terms, as in 64,000, that is less the price.
So the CD and then dollar.
Yeah, well, we can still compare that, but it's significant to also note that is less than the price of the wristwatch of a full government official who was at the national service that was being branded on social media.
$64,000.
Yes. Richard Mill, you could look it up and see how much they cost and compare that figure to rates. So it is not just as an insignificant figure.
I see.
Right? So it tells you where these things are. So you look at all of these and look at cocoa, which is a critical sector, energy, which is a critical sector. I mean, we were at a near power crisis when we took over. Where are we today? And the real commitment to this. So for me, I think that the president and his team, and for that matter, the finance minister ought to be part of the back to say, okay, well, you've really done significantly well under an eight-week-old government. The fact is, Elon, people keep saying that, oh, when it comes to domestic debt exchange program, nothing could have been done about it because it's a contract. Wasn't it a contract that was broken for us to be in the domestic debt exchange program in the first place? Right? So the real commitment to paying it off or defraying that is significant in and of itself. What my senior is leading, which is the economic dialogue or national economic dialogue, is one of the key indicators, actually, to embracing or attracting investors back into the economy. I mean, we have always touted homegrown solutions, which they boycotted in time past. Royal Sanchi, you remember, right? And went crisscross the length and breadth of the country on petrol-consuming V8s in the name of having town halls when they needed to go to the IMF. You remember all of that. So we are talking about these key critical matters as far as the economy is concerned. You can cherry pick figures from where you like. You could go into the Kufuor era and come and compare it to that and ignore key variables such as time value of money, inflation at the time, rebasing of the economy, what have you. But the real contextualization of what we are talking about, right, is the actual state of the economy.
Very well.
Which was given by the president. And when we say, you see, you tend to agree with my Dr. Kabiru on a point that I thought that you should.
I shouldn't.
No, I'm not saying. No, you should have stayed neutral in illuminating.
Oh, I see.
What you said was that.
What did I say?
Yeah, what you said was that he should have. He has deferred the point to the finance minister.
I was in this position 1 year ago.
No, you should have deferred the point to the finance minister. Defer what point? When we talk about the true state of the nation's economy, right?
No, I think the point I made was that, I mean, he's just
No,
8
no, no.
weeks.
If it is,
He's just 8 weeks
But
old.
what I'm saying, if it's a second state of the nation's economy or third or fourth, it's different to a first.
Sure.
Right? A first is a dovetail of what he has inherited of the last 1 month.
I made a point about
and a
baseline,
few weeks
yeah.
ago before getting into office.
Yeah.
So if you want to use that as a yardstick to say that XYZ should have been said, I think that is out of honesty that he kept to script on what the true state of the nation's economy is.
Okay, so, but the point I was seeking to make also is that the true state of the nation should be inclusive of many more things.
Yeah, but the budget has not been read, and the
So that-
budget
so
is
the
a full
point-
frame. within
Exactly.
which
So the president
all
said
of
so,
this-
and I think that's a similar point.
So maybe you should probably look at a constitutional review of probably having a budget read before a true state of the nation's
Maybe.
address to be given.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to go to
of
the
that sort,
Abano,
rather than
but
pinning it on
I want to go to the Abano,
what
but
it is.
Prof had a simple point on to make about the accounts.